Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Catalyst webinar series presented by the Education Committee for the Southern California PGA. The Catalyst webinar series is a bi-weekly educational platform for creating success and change in your club and career. We're very excited to have Donna Hoffman on the webcast this morning. She is a thought leader, an influencer, a speaker, entrepreneur, and founder of Women on Course. She offers viewpoints for golf and leisure lifestyle to inspire women across the country to use golf as a vehicle for business and social networking. Her talent as an experimental event marketer and motivational leader has been instrumental in growing a large community of dynamic and influential women, attracting financial and luxury brand partners to the game of golf. Good morning, Donna. Thank you very much for joining us on the Catalyst webinar series. We're very excited to have you on the webcast this morning.
Hi, it's great to be here. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So I know that you and I have spoke about a little Q&A throughout the presentation, but Donna also has prepared a PowerPoint, which she's going to take us through. And it's all yours, Donna. Take us away.
Okay, well, first I'm going to tell you a little bit about why I started Women on Course. So I was a confirmed golf widow, meaning I didn't play, had no interest in the game. And I ended up, I got divorced from a very avid golfer. And when I was dating, I thought, that's it for me. But I met a man who was basically obsessed with golf, and he had scratched his head and said, I have to figure out how I can get her to like the game, or I'm never going to see the golf course again. So one of the things he did is he picked up on all the things I already enjoyed doing. I love being outdoors. I like to exercise. I love a glass of wine. So he presented the game to me in a way that appealed to the things that were sort of already on my list of things to do each week. And at the time I had a video company here in the Washington, D.C. area, which was a wonderful platform to tell everybody I knew, because everybody I knew did not play golf. And I said, if women knew what the game involved, they would all be doing it. So I used my television platform to develop a television show. It was called Women on Course, named by the cameraman. And we actually got it on the internet. This is back in 2005 when video was just hitting the internet. It was on the AOL Sports channel. We had about 30,000 emails from women over the course of the show asking how to get in the game. So that's how I got the idea of, well, let me get some ladies together. We'll drink some wine. We'll figure out what to do with all this interest. And from there, Women on Course began. It was an event platform where we got women together for happy hour. That's all it was. So now today, what Women on Course is, we do over 1,000 events a year at golf courses. We have a reach of about 60,000 women, and we've grown this since 2005. So over all that time, I've been very busy bringing more women into the game. So I'm going to cover next sort of what are the reasons that I've been successful getting women in the game. And I think the first thing you have to do is understand the female mindset. And there are some common misconceptions women have about the game. So John, if you want to go to the next slide. So misconceptions. So the first thing, next slide, is what I thought about it. I was turned off because I thought golf takes all day. When I was in college, I went out with my boyfriend and his buddies to play golf. And they were in the woods half the time looking for a ball. It was very boring. It was very slow. I didn't get much exercise. It took 5 or 6 hours, and then they sat around and drank beer. So I thought, if this is what golf is, I'm totally not interested. So that's one thing women think it takes all day, which it doesn't have to. Next slide. All right, another question I get asked a lot, why people don't play golf, is they think that they have to have their own golf clubs. They have to go out and buy a bunch of expensive equipment. Not true. Most every golf clinic that we do, we have the instructors provide golf clubs. Some women show up. I've had women show up at the first tee. They're literally unwrapping the plastic off their golf clubs, getting ready to hit, and asking, we say, get out your driver. They have no idea what club they're even picking out. They just knew they were playing golf and they had to go buy some clubs. Other people assume, and we all know that when you play on a golf course, you do need a set of golf clubs to play. So they just assume when they get there, it's going to be sort of like bowling. You know, all the balls are laying out, you just pick one up. They think, oh, well, they'll have sets of golf clubs I can rent. And again, we have to let them know that many clubs don't have many sets for beginners or for women to use. So while you don't need to own clubs, we do like to guide people the misconception about having clubs of your own. Okay, next slide. Handicaps. We have a lot of people that don't sign up to play in outings or tournaments because they feel or they think that they have to have an established handicap. And while some courses do, some tournaments require handicap, many are for fun, especially the charity tournaments or the corporate tournaments. So they don't need to have a handicap to play golf. So that's not a roadblock. All right, next slide. Okay, this is an interesting one. When I started Women on Course, I had two groups of people. One group was the women who wanted to play, but they didn't know how to get started. So that's a whole group of people. But the second group are people that play, and they're usually out there with their husbands or boyfriend. And their common complaint is there aren't enough women to play golf with, which again, I have a database of, you know, over 20,000 women. I'm like, how can you not find them? So the women are having trouble finding each other to play with. So that's another reason when they go out, they see all men, they're the only woman out there. I've been that only woman out there. So when they don't see a lot of women out there, they feel it's really not inclusive for them. All right, next slide. Golf is expensive. That is a big misconception. Yes, there are a lot of expensive rounds you can play, but golf now, when I started, there was no such thing as an 9-hole rate or a twilight rate. It was really 18 holes or bust. So now I think the industry is getting very creative in how to break down the pricing so that people can get introduced. I like to use the haircut analogy. Women will not think twice about throwing down $250 to get their hair cut, colored, styled, where if a man was going to pay $250 to get his hair done, he would say no way. So the reverse is true in golf. Men typically would throw down $250 to play a nice round of golf, but women look at that price tag. If they're not good enough to play golf or they don't understand the game, they're not going to get the value out of that round. So you want to make sure that there are lower cost options for them to get a taste of the game, understand the game. And once they appreciate the game and the value, they will spend that much money. We just did a trip to Kiawah Island, 120 ladies, and I had an upgrade if you wanted to play the ocean course. And I thought, oh, I'll make 20 spots. Well, I sold out 56 spots. These women were paying upwards of $450 to play one round of golf. And I had a waiting list. So women will spend money on golf once they know the value. Okay, next slide. Okay, golf is hard. So all of you know golf is hard. It's one of the hardest games you could ever try. So people are used to doing things, especially women, they want to look good. If it's hard, they're not going to do it. So I've asked women why they play golf. I look at them out there. I'm still amazed every day how, I want to say terrible they are, but they're all out there. So if you ask women why they play, there are probably 100 reasons why they play golf beyond the skill of the game. You know, whether it's meeting friends, being outside, networking for business, those are the popular ones. But a lot of women like to go out and wear the cute clothes. They like to see a new part of town. They want to get away from work. They want to get away from their kids. They want to de-stress. So maybe they just want to have a glass of wine and have an excuse to do it. So while the game is hard, we try to educate women on there are ways to be involved. And yes, it is hard, but it's not going to stop you from playing. So those are some of the common misconceptions about golf. So the next thing I was going to cover, we go to the next slide, is really what's important of how to attract and retain female golfers. And I've been doing this, like I said, for 17 years. I've talked to every golf course, GM, golf pro under the sun. I've seen lessons. I've observed this so much from the customer point of view, and I get the mindset of the golf pro. I get the mindset of the GM who's running a business and needs to make money. I get it from the person who's never played and the person who's a 7 handicap. So these are 5 suggestions on how I know and I've seen golf courses make money and bring more women in. So let's talk about the first one. This is the value of 4 hours, I call it. So I cold call courses all over the place, private clubs, municipals, daily fee. And what we're asking them is, can we have 4 hours of your time per month? And sometimes it takes 6 months to get a return phone call. We have lengthy discussions. I know with COVID, courses are understaffed, they're busy. But the value of investing 4 hours, whether it's a 1-hour golf clinic, a 90-minute play 4 holes at twilight, having a 1-hour happy hour, like an open house, that value is going to come back tenfold. I partnered with Billy Casper Golf. Many of you, they're no longer called that, but we had 185 golf courses under their management at the time. And they basically implemented the Women on Course program at all courses. So I got to really watch how 4 hours have expanded their business. There was a course in Florida. They did a free golf clinic and they had about 50 people show up. And I advised them not to have 50 people because they only had 2 golf pros. So they brought in 4 more golf pros and assistants. And I said, what you have to do in this first event is you have to make them feel valued and welcome. And if you do that, it'll come back tenfold. Well, those ladies turned into 250 active members of the club. They were playing once a week, taking lessons, and it grew over a year. I've seen other courses where 2 lonely people show up for a clinic. I beg the pro, please do the clinic for the hour. Do it for a half hour, do a bang up job, because what happens with those 2 women is they come back, they tell their friends, they tell their families, they tell their office mates. Women like to share great experiences. So over and over, I've seen the investment, more than putting money into some social media campaign. If you invest 4 hours of actually giving women a great experience, it will pay off tenfold. Okay, next slide. All right, this is a big one. Don't keep it a secret. So we work, I would say currently I'm working with about 250 golf courses around the country. Many of them, their constituents have no idea that they're doing Women on Course events, that they're doing events for us. In other words, it's not on their website. They don't send an email out. They don't do anything. And, you know, we have a database of people in Southern California. We probably have about 2,500 people in our database and social media, and we promote the events. But the minute that the golf course posted it on their website or sent an email blast, these events are completely full. And I really don't understand why a golf course wouldn't promote the fact that they're doing this, because they keep the revenue for all these events. So it's something that you're doing. You want to make sure that the women know you're doing it. And I'll give you an example. When I first started Women on Course, we did happy hours at Fleming's Steakhouse. And steakhouses are known as a male place where it's a club and they smoke cigars and they drink whiskey. Well, Fleming's, unbeknownst to me, had some I can't say the words, some little tips that they were catering to women. For example, the wine glasses were a little bit lighter. Their wood, their dark paneling wood was a little lighter wood. They had music. They were playing different music, the decor. So they were all trying to hint that they were welcoming women, but they didn't really promote that, hey, we are a women-friendly steakhouse. So when they did the Women on Course events, just by hosting those events, they kind of sent the word out that, well, we don't want to turn off the men that come here. We don't want them to think that this is a female, you know, it's all women, but they did want to make the women know that they were welcome in their steakhouse. So that was a pretty interesting thing they did. The other thing is I did an experiment. I took Chicago and I said to myself, all right, I'm someone looking to get in the game. And I went to the website that was closest to the zip code I lived in. And I go to the website and the first place I go is the instruction page. And I see juniors, I see private lessons, I see get golf ready maybe, but I don't see anything that really speaks to me as a beginner, and I'm kind of intimidated. Then I see league play. There's the 18-hole ladies and the 9-hole ladies. There's memberships for avid players. Then I hop over to the next site and I see a course that we're working with, and they had the Women on Course program up there with the juniors, with the private lessons. And all of a sudden I see a picture of women. It looks friendly. I want to be part of that group. So just having something on your website that shows it's a women welcome event, people feel more comfortable. There's a lot of judgment that women feel, even in a co-ed group, if they might not be comfortable. I do know in the state of California, there are some very strict laws about discrimination. So you are not allowed to say women only, ladies only. It's against the law. And my company's been sued twice because people have offhandedly said that this is for women only, and you're not allowed to do that. So what's cool about the Women on Course brand is that we're saying women without saying women only. Nowhere in our copy do we say this is for women only. Men can come, anybody can come. So the two simple things, if you are hosting things for women or ladies, is, put it up on your website and send it out in your email newsletter and put a poster up, because women will flock to that. Okay, next slide. Okay, deliver what you promise. So women are very particular. So we are very careful in what we say. If we say we're going to provide 9 holes, range balls, and a glass of wine, better make sure when you show up at the golf course that they get exactly what you promised. You don't want a distracted golf pro at a lesson where you say show up at 6 o'clock, and 6 o'clock, the pro is nowhere to be seen. He's wrapping up another lesson, or he's running around getting golf balls set up. If it says it starts at 6, you want to make sure you start at 6. You expect the golfers to be there on time for their tee time. So if you say you're doing something, make sure you're following through on what you promise. So you want to be ready, and also inform your staff. We've had more women show up at the golf course for their lesson, and they check in at the pro shop and they make their payment, and they're like, where are we meeting? And they have no clue. They have absolutely no clue where the pro is. And I've had people go home and there's the pro standing there. Well, only 2 people showed up and we had 8 signed up because nobody knew where they were going and nobody knew what was going on. So, 30 minutes before you have a women's event, make sure your staff knows, because they may be clueless as to where to meet. And, they don't know a lot of the lingo that people are using. Even the pro shop, I've had a woman say, well, gosh, I went there and I never found the pro shop. And I said, well, right after the front door, it was a left-hand turn. She goes, oh, the store worth all the clothes? I didn't need to buy anything. So she thought that was a retail store. She didn't realize that the pro shop is where they sell the golf clothes. She was looking for something in her mind, something different. Which leads to my next point, which you can change the slide, which is communicate with courtesy and clarity. First of all, has anyone ever been to a restaurant where you're sitting there and we know it's busy and people are zooming back and forth and no one is paying any attention to you? Okay, this happens. I used to be a server through high school. And one of what's going through my mind, if I acknowledge the people sitting there, then that means I have to take 3 to 5 minutes to talk to them and I have 20 other things to do. So I would just ignore them. I was a young kid. I just ignored them, because if I don't look at them, then I don't have to waste time and I can keep moving. So the same thing at a golf course. I was going to a course in the winter. I live in Virginia, so there's nobody there. I go in the pro shop. I have a meeting with the GM, and there's a kid on the phone. And he did not make eye contact with me for 20 minutes. And I'm trying to politely say, I'm here to meet the GM. He never looked at me once. So this happens all the time. I hear it all the time. So a simple making eye contact, holding up, I'll be right with you. Someone will be right with you. You want to acknowledge, especially a woman who walks in your pro shop or in your space, that you're there. You don't have to spend any time with them if you're busy, but someone will be with you. That will make them feel a lot better. Okay, the other thing is the lingo. Now, I have a lot of funny stories about the lingo. You don't realize how many terms we use in golf that you expect people to know and they don't know it. For example, we announced on our website that we were having a new handicap service. All our members could have a handicap service. And somebody wrote me, oh, that is wonderful, because I just had hip surgery. And that means when I come back to golf, they're going to carry my bag. They're going to help me out to the golf course. She thought it was for people who had a disability, which is not true. It's a little funny. Another person, I typically will say, if you're going out to an event, if you're early, go in the pro shop. Again, there's the pro shop. Go in the pro shop, buy yourself a bucket of balls, go out and warm up. And then when we're ready, you'll be all warmed up. So we get out there, we're ready to start our round. And one of the ladies goes, Donna, so how do we get the balls back? I'm like, what are you talking about? She goes, well, I did what you said. I went and bought some balls and I hit them all out there, but how do I get them back? And I go, well, you don't get them back. The golf course collects them and recycles them. She goes, but I paid $25 for those balls. I go, what? It's only $5 for a bucket. She's like, well, then I realized she actually bought a dozen golf balls and went and hit them on the driving range. So I now don't say that you buy balls. I say you're renting a bucket of balls. So you just want to be very careful in the language that you're using when we think about it, especially if you're giving golf lessons, like put the ball in the middle of your stance, or, you're hitting it with hit the ball, in the sweet spot. People do not understand what you're saying sometimes. So I do advise women before they take a lesson to understand the lingo. Okay, so that's communication. And the last slide I have is, let's see, what's the next slide? Oh, partner with women on course. So if you are looking to increase the number of women that come to your course, and again, women tell their friends, women spend money. They will buy out a pro shop faster than when we do these trips, I tell people, stock up your pro shop, because they come in and you just see hangers, empty hangers swinging, because they want to buy stuff. They don't just stop after golf for a beer. They sit down, they have wine, they have dinner. They want to stay until all hours of the night. So women is great for business. So by partnering with us, what you're doing is you're tapping into our network of 60,000 and growing women that we reach with. They're brand loyal. We did a lot of surveys on, would you rather go back to the same course over and over that you feel comfortable, or try new courses? They like to know that they're appreciated. And when they're appreciated, they want to show you and they'll come back. So it's a brand loyal audience. We also are spending a lot of our time marketing to women outside your gates. So while you have a database and you have a website, we are marketing to corporations, we're marketing to neighbors, clubs, we're outside your normal reach. That's where we spend most of our marketing time, is going out to reach women that you're not already talking to. So this will bring in new people. The event formats that we execute or that we host are very easy to execute. A lot of these are time-tested formats. They're small, they can be very large. So we have sort of a turnkey system for these events that resonate with women, that they have fun participating in. Our collateral resonates with women. Again, you can't change your whole website to put like a picture like this and say, come on and golf here. Although maybe that would attract a lot of men, I don't know. But we do have marketing collateral that has pictures of women. They're not stock footage of, somebody that doesn't know how to hold a club. But when you look at these pictures, when you look at the copy, the words we use, we don't say the word tournament, because that turns off probably 90% of the people. Even if they're good enough to play, they think they're not. So we might use the word outing or an event. We're very careful with our wording. So we do that. We have a complete registration system. So it's all automatic. We man our phones 24/7. So no one has to call your pro shop to sign up. If there's questions about, is it raining? We take care of all the communication before the event, after the event, and during the event. We like to assign a member ambassador to every single event. So while your pro is busy, maybe getting the pairings right or the cards, we have somebody out there talking to each person. How are you doing today? Do you have any questions? They might be afraid to ask the staff. So we have an ambassador assigned, and that has really grown the participation. You can always tell who's nervous. So we actually help that one person feel more comfortable, and they literally come back with 10 more friends. So those are some of the things that we do at Women on Course. One thing I didn't mention that I want to mention is most people think that playing golf is keeping score. And that's a huge deterrent for many people, men and women. So we employ what I call a 3 ways to play philosophy. So yes, you can keep score if you are a course ready golfer. And we define course ready as knowing the etiquette, knowing how to keep a pace of play. Those are the 2 most important things. Okay, yes, you have to be able to hit a ball, but if you are course ready, you can be out on the golf course. Now, if you cannot keep score and keep a pace of play, so in other words, if you're following the rules of golf and you're taking too long, you do not keep score individually. So the next bucket is we ask you to play a scramble. So you're doing it as a team. Okay, if as a team you still can't advance the ball in a proper amount of time, we ask you to play your own way. And this, most of our women, especially on our trips where we have 80 to 100 people playing golf. I mean, the first time I did this, it was a 6-hour round because it was just a backlog, because these are not great ladies. They're not great players. So I had to come up with a solution. So play your own way means you make up your own rules, whatever rules you want. And to really help some people, I explain it this way. You're going to score 5 on every single hole. How do you do that? You hit your drive. Wherever the ball goes, you're going to place it at the 100-yard marker or where it should have gone, middle of the fairway. And if you got it there, great. So that's your first shot. Your second shot, you're going to try to get it on the green. If you do, wonderful. If not, you're going to place that ball maybe 3 or 4 feet off the green. So your third shot is a chip. All right. And then you're going to 2-putt. So this way, instead of telling people we'll pick up after 6 or pick up after 7 or pick up after double bogey, many women aren't even near, they can't even see the hole yet because they're swinging and swinging and swinging. So this way they get to hit different shots. They're using all the different shots, full swing, short game, putting, and they feel like they're playing golf. They're moving. And this has really saved the day. I can't tell you how many events I've done where score 5 on every hole has just saved the day. So that's how I get my 7 handicaps and my brand new golfers all playing together and having a great time. Because at the 19th hole, that's where they really all want to be. So that's my presentation.
So Donna, you've
Yeah.
been named as one of the 22 disruptors by the LPGA, and you have a tremendous amount of influence and insight into a sustainable and successful onboarding program. Now, over the years, there's been many initiatives that have come up to bolster certain demographics to engage in the game for the good of the individual, for the good of the business, for the good of the industry. What are some of the pratfalls that have befallen those initiatives? And in your opinion, what is the key ingredient of a sustainable golfer development program?
Yeah, I think one is flexibility. There is no one way to do this. One formula does not fit everybody. So if you do it this way, you're going to turn off these people. If you do it this way, you're going to turn off these people. So I try to come up with an approach that is as far reaching as possible, where we're not, obviously you can't do something for 100%, but you try to come up with something that will hit at least 70 to 80% of the people. Many programs are very narrow. They're either, let's all focus on the 19th hole and we're going to drink. So that turns off people, or let's focus on we're going to play and keep score. That turns off people. So I think with the program that I've set up, we can allow for flexibility for some choices while still including as many as possible. So that's one thing. I think the other thing I see is continuation. A lot of these people do a one and done. Like, let's have I know women's golf day, it's a big day. You have to have continuity to keep them going. You throw a big event, everybody has a blast, and we've done this for corporations. How do we keep them to continue engaging? So one of the things I started with Women on Course is to have a membership fee. Now I'm an introvert, you wouldn't know, but I'm an accountant introvert. I don't join things. I don't belong to things. And people were asking, I want to join. I'm like, you don't join. Come to events. We had a sponsor, done. So finally I said, screw it. I'm going to have a membership. And what I found with membership, it's like now they paid their money, they want to come. So you don't lay down, it's $110, $119 to join. Now they feel they've made an investment, they're going to have to come back. So that was the other thing. We had them make an investment of some sort.
I think it's also important to have when you talk about the instructor being late to the lesson or finishing up another lesson or nowhere to be found, because we take for granted where people check in. I think the PGA has done a wonderful job focusing on diversity and inclusion from a language standpoint, particularly with Pro Shop and now Golf Shop, so that it doesn't create the impression that that building or that space is just for pros. That can be very intimidating to a new golfer. But how important is it for facilities to have a champion, a point of contact that kind of spearheads this division of the business?
Extremely. We usually set up our program with a point of contact at a club, and we do that in the winter. And then when the time comes, we communicate back and forth. Here's how many people are coming. The day of, if that champion is not there or the staff isn't informed, it all falls apart. I mean, we're bringing people ready to go, excited. If they're ignored or not made to feel welcome. And it's as simple as, let me give you an example. I took my very first golf lesson after a year of my boyfriend, husband at the time. He taught me how to play golf. So he goes, "You're ready for a real lesson. Get out there." They hand me the 5-iron. He goes, "Watch this girl hit." What did the pro do? He crossed his arms and he goes, "All right, let me see you hit it." Okay. I couldn't do anything. I fell apart. Yeah. I just his demeanor, crossing the arms, kind of looking at me. Okay, let me see you do it. All fell apart. So it's all about that it's making people feel good about being there first and foremost. And I think when you have a champion at the golf course, they're going to reinforce that every day with the staff.
And where do you see women on course going in the next 3 to 5 years?
Well, I would like it to be in more markets. I literally have a list of more cities. LA is one of them. We used to be in LA. People are asking me, when are you coming back to LA? And my big hang up is getting the course partnerships, because we can't bring women to a place where we can't set things up. So I see us being in every market that we can possibly be in, and doing more education to these masses of women on a global scale, just having the resources to educate them on our philosophy and how to engage with the game. Because we don't want people out on a golf course that took one lesson and they're playing 18 holes. We as much as we educate people, I would love to get out more and have more people in person like me, talking to them about pace of play, how it works. I do a lot of talks right before people go out, and they get it when it's in person. I can send flyers and graphics and write things, but having a mentorship program, a national mentorship program with, again, the members can be very scary to other women if their manner is clipped and, pick up your 5-iron, pick up the, you have to be more nurturing with certain people. A lot of these women are partners at law firms. They're CEOs. They run their own companies. For some reason, when they get to a golf course, they're out of their element. They become very insecure, very powerful everywhere else, but they don't want to put themselves in an insecure position, so they'll stay away from golf. So we want to help them feel confident and professional when they're on that golf course so that they can show up.
When you say you've had difficulty setting things up in the California, more specifically the LA market, can you talk a little bit about the difficulties you've faced?
Yeah, I think some of it is just returning the phone call or returning the email. After 4 or 5 times, I just give up. It's like, and the message is usually, "Hi, I'm Donna from Women on Course. I'd like to talk about booking some business at your course, or I'd like to book some events." So I'm trying to bring business to a golf course. And when I'm not getting a call back, it's very disheartening. Or again, back to the 4 hours, we're busy. We don't have any time to give you. We don't have an hour. As you don't have 1 hour to do one clinic. No, we don't have any time. We got junior camps. We got this, we got that, we got this. So it's a lot of no's. And I think people are busy. COVID was a very unique situation. We're coming out of COVID. I'm finding that women are signing up less because there's other choices, So it's a perseverance of calling and calling and calling the course. If I live there, I could drive there, but it's just, I'm the only person. So I'm looking to hire an event book, someone that can book events, because you have to really stay on it to get a connection. And once we connect with someone and we do a successful event, it's a little easier, but breaking through that first, one course in San Diego, I can give you an example. We had a very fabulous pro, filled up all our events. The head director, the head golf pro changed. And so the pro said, I can't book anything until we get a new head pro. I'm like, all right, well, that was 6 months ago. So it's just been a little difficult.
So I know, so many topics in terms of COVID are so polarized now, but what has the pandemic done to women on course, both before the onset, during, and after, especially in a time now that post-COVID golf has exploded in so many demographics and so many regions, and we're seeing an uptick in the game's popularity that we haven't seen in over 20 years. Has that positively affected women on course, and how have you rolled through this whole last 3-year period?
Absolutely. I mean, I thought we were out of business when COVID hit. I'm in Virginia, and our governor is a former physician, and he shut us down for the longest period, like 2.5 months. But he said, you can play golf, because he's a golfer. So I thought we were out of business. Most states had no golf, 16-minute tee times. So we pivoted, and I learned how to do Zoom, and I did some Zoom events. Well, I found out that I could get my message out to more people. I didn't have to be in person. I did it through Zoom. And we have expanded more, just like the golf industry. People are like, what can I do that's safe? Let me try golf. Let's go to Women on Course. So we became, as golf courses opened up, we did we brought in a lot of new people that love the game now. And so post-pandemic, we're seeing the result of that. So we've grown exponentially with the golf courses. One of the reasons people have come to us is because they couldn't get golf tee times. So because we had these partnerships with these courses, a lot of them were cutting groups, but because we were such a reliable, very on point, we don't leave people hanging with empty tee times. They continue to partner with us. So people came to us to get on the golf courses. So our reputation, because, we had a really good reputation, that helped us as well.
So predominantly being new golfers, newer skill levels, you're relegated by these properties to later tee times or off-peak times when most of their business is not playing, just from a pace of play standpoint. Do you find that has been a challenge in growing the brand?
Not really. I think, once we're partnering with the course and they see what we're doing, we do get tee times. People will pay for tee times. A lot of times we're booking evening or twilight, but ladies go, I want to play Saturday at 10 a.m. So, they pay the higher prices and we'll book them. So we have a format called, it's the clinic in 3 holes. I like to say I invented this format because I never saw it out there. But that is a great way to get someone from the driving range onto a golf course. So it's a 30-minute lesson, and then the pro goes out with them for 3 holes, 1 hour. Maybe they only play 2 holes, and it gets them familiar with the course, so they know, okay, I'm ready to play 9 holes or 18, or no, I'm not ready yet. So we did that. When I started this, I worked with Club Corp. We had a format. It was a 4-hour event. I've never played golf. They did all clinics, a clinic in 4-hole and a 9-hole. So everybody was doing something during the 2.5 hours of golf. And then at the end, they all met at the 19th hole. And we probably did about 400 of those events in the beginning. I sent myself or another staff person to each event to kind of give the new golfer talk. The pro did the lesson and the ladies played golf. And it really was a great format because we can kind of teach women where they belong. And you probably have in regular play, just men that go out there and they don't know what they're doing. They're holding up play and everything. So, Heidi Richardson is on the call. Yay. Heidi does our clinics out there in Encinitas.
So one final question, Donna. What are, in your opinion, the 3 biggest pieces of advice that you could give PGA professionals trying to grow women's demographic in this game?
Okay, I guess the first is be a welcoming personality, smile. I addressed a room full of male golf pros once at Billy Casper, and I got up to speak. Not one of them smiled. They all had this resting face. And I'm like, this is scary, guys. I'm looking at all of you, even though they were concentrating, but smile, give a smile, because that immediately puts people at ease. So don't cross your arms, body language, smile, tell a joke, something to let them know you're human. So that's number one. Number two is, you know, like I said, deliver on the expectation. If they're coming for a lesson or they're going to play and they're going to tee off at 3 o'clock, make sure they're teeing off at 3 o'clock. Don't throw a group of people ahead of them because they're members of the club and now they're late. Oh, they can just wait 5 more minutes. That really pisses people off. They'll never come back. So treat them equally and deliver what you expect. And I guess the last piece of advice is, if you're marketing to women, you have to be very careful of your marketing collateral and your pieces. Don't just color it pink. They'll see right through that. You want to make sure the language that you're using, the visuals that you're using, so that people want to come and participate and make it fun for them. I mean, really, it's, people are busy, I get it, but you can still smile and welcome them.
I think a big theme in your presentation really calls on basic customer service skills. It seems to me that the more experienced, the more skilled clientele there is, the less customer service demand that they expect from the service professional. When it's a new person, a female or male, new to the game, new to the club, don't know where to go, they're more critical and more needy on the service that they need in order to feel comfortable. And you know, the story you told about the kid not making eye contact with you, or when you were a server in college and not making eye contact or ignoring the customer. I mean, those are key ingredients, and the not crossing your arms and smiling and making eye contact and being weary of how uncomfortable people are when they're new to this game, especially when they're in an environment where they perceive everybody else to be skilled and comfortable and very versed. It's even more intimidating for the new people. So I think if we're sensitive as PGA professionals, I think if we're sensitive to that critical newness of that clientele, I think it's going to help us serve them better and make them feel more comfortable and more likely to come back and more likely to stay.
Well, and keep in mind, like this photo, this was at one of our trips in Squaw Valley. So I'm looking at these faces. I know a lot of these women, they're very avid players. They're equally as critical if they're not given the right service. They've played at Pinehurst, they've played at Kiowa, you're in California, you have tough customers. So they want to be treated right because they've been to golf courses where it's yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, whatever. I hate when people call me ma'am from the South because it feels old, but they understand good customer service as well. So you can equally turn them off as well because they know how they're supposed to be treated. So yeah, customer service. And again, I'm new to golf. When I started this, I knew nothing about golf, but I just know how I would be treated. The phone rings, I answer the phone, I listen to their story. It's like the bartender, you kind of listen to their story and they're your friend for life. So that's cool.
Well, Donna, on behalf of the Education Committee for the Southern California PGA, thank you very, very much for coming on the webcast this morning, presenting on the Catalyst webinar. For the PGA members on the live webcast this morning, you will receive 1 MSR for attending. For those that are viewing the Catalyst after the fact through the Catalyst landing page on the education dropdown on the section website, there will be a 10-question quiz associated with Donna's presentation. A score of 70% or higher will earn 1 MSR credit for attending. Everybody, thank you very much for your support. Donna, again, thank you for volunteering your time to help educate the section. And have a great day, everybody. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.